I like used that, right? And I had like a false sense of confidence that I had another pair of trimmers because I couldn't find that one. And I went in with like the same confident stroke, and I was like, good jerk. And I was like, hurt. And your balls bleed, man. They bleed. You knew the deer was gonna die, and it was like crawling onto like the median to like basically die. I called my buddy.
He's
I
on
was
like front wheel drive.
yeah,
The time
5:38.
17:38 because we do military time here.
The fuck?
My brother does that. He'd be like,
Yo, David, we're introing. Stop it.
oh, sorry.
The date September 9th. The guests Sonny and Dave. The episode 100.
Extravaganza.
Yeah, we made it this far.
Party time.
Hopefully there's an episode 101, but we'll see what happens. I guess we're already talking about North Koreans, so this episode is damned to be lit.
Yeah.
As the children's been saying.
There's a lot of pressure on this episode. Might as well open it up with something lighthearted like North Korea.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
I've never got a postcard from like greetings from North Korea. It's always
Do you
someplace
know
like
anybody?
Naples.
Do you
No,
know?
no. But I'm just,
Well, yo, first off, who's sending you postcards?
yeah,
Postcards aren't.
I've never gotten a postcard, but
Have you? No,
the
but like
joke
when
was
you
I
were
lied that I
younger,
got one.
you never had like an aunt or somebody that like sent you a postcard back in the day.
No.
Yo, and Rambo.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Special guest, the dog. No, I don't think I've ever received postcards, but I always remember seeing them in like the stores and stuff. So, but I never, but it was always places you go visit. Be like, send a postcard from Cape May, but I'm like, yeah, it's an old person thing to do.
It
like
is.
stamps.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, postcard from Wawa 342.
Yeah. Hey man, I'm super drunk and just got a hoagie. Anyways, wish you were here. I don't know how I'm gonna drive home.
Yo, that
Hey man, I got your postcard. What happened? I got a DUI and a BLT.
that might be $1 million idea. That might be
pretty
$1 million idea. What if you could drunk send a postcard from Wawa? Like that was the thing you did. Like you're like, oh, I'm gonna go get a shorty and send a postcard.
I just love the idea of getting a postcard from the sandwich shop or like from Wawa itself.
Well, I mean, everything comes back to sandwiches for you. So
It really does. It really does.
You think, what would you, if like you had a choice of all the establishments you frequent, which establishment would you most likely want to receive a postcard from?
I don't know, man. I guess I've been really like on the Chipotle train lately as far as fast casual.
Yeah, fast.
But I don't think
casual.
I want a
casual.
postcard from Chipotle.
Fast casual. Is that
It's
like
like-
actually what it's called though?
Well, yeah, I guess because it's like eating fast food, but you think it's healthy, so it's like the fast casual. Instead of fast food, they'll call it like branded like fast casual, right? Like if you're Arby's, you're fast food, but if you're,
Panera or
Panera, you're fast casual.
Yeah.
Be like, but it still has like 9,000 milligrams of sodium
For
in
sure.
like both things. So
Yeah, and it's just like a postcard and it's just a burrito just wrapped up. It just says, we've been thinking about you.
usually on my podcast, we'll talk about like fast food for a good half hour. So
Yeah, you got to
man.
fit it in.
Yeah.
It's like the Dave Hermes standard.
Fast food aficionado.
Oh,
Right
man.
Yeah, we got to be up on like.
It's a gift and a curse, gentlemen. I've
Like
dined at
Wendy's.
some of the finest establishments. Oh man, I told you the story when I had a McRib once and I hated it so much that I got a Big Mac and ate the Big Mac just to like get the taste of McRib out of my mouth. I ate the entire McRib, too. But I chased it down with a Big Mac and I was like, oh god, that McRib was so bad. McRib sucks, man.
Yeah. So to get it out of your system faster, you had to like flush your system.
Yeah. I feel like I do that with things, right? You ever have a stomach ache because you're eating too much food, so you double down, you eat another huge meal, and you're like, all right, this will take care of it.
No,
It never does.
I don't partake.
It never does.
I don't partake.
I'll give you the hard and fast. It's not a good idea. But
Anyway, Episode 100 is kicking
The
off.
intro.
It's just kicking. It's
moving right along.
yeah, we just got through it.
So I was listening to the podcast on the way up. The
last one?
91, I think you guys were talking about like the all the new albums, Kanye and Drake. So I put the Drake album on, and
Yeah, the Drake album is by far way more. It's more music. It's actually, you can listen to it.
I agree with your assessment of like the Kanye kind of being a spacey album, because I was just kind of listening to it while I was working, and it was just you just kind of go on this like this is just kind of a strange. It's almost like a production where it's not like a rap music like
Yeah, well, you know when people that partake in acid, I've never done acid. Just when I think of the word acid, I think of battery acid, and then I'm like, I can't put that inside me.
Yeah, no.
Um,
They branded that different. I'd be doing acid all the time.
yeah, maybe if they
LSD.
called it something like,
Oh,
like
there we go. I was gonna start doing that now. Thanks, Gilmar.
Yeah, did it?
yeah, but there's a bunch of albums from like the 60s and 70s that they're like, you gotta listen to this while you're tripping.
Yeah,
Maybe,
like anything by Pink Floyd.
I guess maybe that's kind of like the situation.
But he's
with
always kind of tried to put together like an album, right? But the weird thing that opens up is that first track where she's just like, Donda, 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 Donda. And I'm driving up here, I'm like, beef, 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 beef. And I'm like, why are you doing that?
Beef.
We could make an entire album just about fast food, and the first song would be like, beef, beef, beef. And it goes on for like a minute and a half.
Yeah,
It's heavy.
it is heavy.
You could make a spoof on that video of just you just sitting there, just
Eating beef.
silhouetted, just Rhonda.
And then a lady silhouette, a larger lady silhouette.
Yeah.
Because Rhonda's always a larger lady.
Or just like Ronda
Rhonda's the
Rousey.
lady down at the bowling alley that could like throw strikes all night, and you're just like, damn. She's a heavy set lady who enjoys her Miller Lights. That's what I think of Rhonda.
She's got bowling shoulders.
She does.
It just rips
Very
it right down the
masculine.
lane. I don't even know how we even got here.
I heard the lesbian line. That was really funny. When
Oh,
you were
what-
talking about it. He's like, oh, she's like, oh, I'm a lesbian. Oh, I'm one too. I
Yeah.
always thought about that.
You what, being a
guess
lesbian?
No, it's like that's like a perfect line. That's like the perfect thing to say back. It's like, yeah, I am too.
Yo.
The best is when you're like asking a girl out, and you're like, you want to hang out next weekend? And she's like, I have a boyfriend. You're like, so do I. I have a boyfriend too. That is real confusing for them, and then you walk away sad. I don't know if you guys have ever been in that situation.
What, told a girl I was gay? Like,
Yeah, just to be
avoid
like,
this
yeah,
guy.
whatever, so am I. Because if
I
they
think
turn
there's,
you down,
there's
you
probably
can't.
a movie about this. It's
Yeah,
probably
probably.
some sort of
I might have stole that from
rom-com.
somewhere.
Somewhere in Paris or some shit. Some
Yeah.
movie Paris would make.
I grew up on a lot of that
Yeah, the
stuff.
French, you can't trust them.
Bro, they be doing weird shit.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
because like once you start collaborating with the French, it's not good.
No, yeah.
No good.
Gotta keep your distance.
Well, I had some French fries yesterday. They were pretty good.
Well, that's the only French you can trust.
Speaking of the French, and this is gonna be a rough transition
What the fuck?
onto Jews. It was the Jewish New Year this week, Rosh Hashanah, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
So they
L'chaim.
so I live relatively close to I guess it's a large synagogue because it seems like a lot of people go there. And I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, one of the holiday days, all the Jews were like leaving synagogue, and they don't drive from synagogue. It's like against the rules for whatever reason.
Mm.
So they got to walk home, right? But I saw these motherfuckers like busting around the corner, like tiptoeing.
Mm-hmm.
And then this like Navigator Uber pulled up and they hopped in that shit.
Well, I think as long as they don't have
I
to.
shit you not. So like
That is some commitment.
all the Jews, it was just like trickling down less and less Jews, and like you can identify them. It's like nobody else is walking on this main fucking road in black and white gear.
Yeah.
Like that's
I like
like
this.
No
had-
one's walking on the bypass.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, and it looked suspect as shit. And I was like, on the way to where I was going, because it was like near my house, but I wasn't already going home yet. I saw this dude sitting in the Navigator and just like chilling there on the side of the shoulder. I was like, that's really weird. That looks like a limo, and I don't know where he would be picking like Maybe he's just waiting to get into this neighborhood to like go pick up his call. Maybe he's early. But on the way back, I just like coincidentally was seeing all the Jews walking along the road, and then I just saw the Navigator, and then once I got close to it, we were just like a family of 4 or 5 just hopping in. I'm like, those cheaters, dude. And I'm not even Jewish, but I took offense to that. I was like, you're cutting corners.
Yeah,
It takes
You
commitment.
you made a religious
No,
commitment.
It's a real commitment to even call that Uber, because you had to call that Uber like 5 hours in advance for it to be there, because it had to come from Philly or some shit.
Okay. You know? not even that. Like if you were in synagogue for like, I'm assuming you're gonna be there for a few hours. Right, you got to call that in the morning and be like, "Oh, dude, I think the rabbi's gonna end it at like 5:15." Be like, "Nah. Last year, Dad, 5:37. He went late." Be like, I think this year I feel the energy. He's going early. I'm gonna call and that's why the limo guy was probably sitting there. He was probably just waiting.
It might have
the
been
synagogue ran late, and then those people were just like scurrying. They're like, "Oh wow, they're really trying to get home."
Well, I think it's the fact that as long as they don't have to do any work themselves, like maybe it's like a day.
It's not
where
the
they don't have to do it.
Amish.
Yeah, but
It's
don't
not
they observe the Sabbath?
Yeah,
It's
maybe
Saturday.
We'll go in on that. We'll say Sabbath.
I always tell that to my dad. He's like, "You're getting mowed on today." I'm like, "Dad, I'm observing the Sabbath." He's like, "We're not Jewish." I was like, "Yes, I had some corned beef this morning. I am very Jewish. Thank you." And it was delicious.
And a bagel and a Whatever.
Somehow I went back to food.
Yeah, honestly. yeah, seriously.
I love corned beef. What can I say? It's an underutilized lunch meat.
But
When you
why is
speak
it
on
called
it, facts.
corned beef? Like,
Sure.
why can't it just be beef?
it's
Like, what's
magical.
corn about it?
It's
Is it
sweet,
actually,
right?
Does it actually have corn on it? Tell us about
They
your
like
passion.
brine it, right? They like put a big. Well,
Don't say
consider-
right.
Cows,
Like
are the cows fed corn? Is that what it is?
Let's take a look. Let's take a look at section A. What is in a corned beef?
Well, that's the first thing is, why is it so bad?
I love
for
how
you?
he's like, Jamie, pull it up.
Corned beef is essentially-
We're trying to get Dave on the spot here, and Gilmar literally gives him an out.
It's beef cured. Well, corned beef is just beef cured in a salt brine, Andrew, with some pickling spices for added flavor, of course. It actually gets its name corn from an old English word for grain. So, I mean, goes without saying, right, Andrew? Thanks, Gilmar.
small pieces of hard things the size of grain.
Yes, there you go.
or small pieces.
To emulate corn on the beef cob. Dude, have you messed with corned beef?
I mean, I guess I do now.
Dude,
I probably have.
It's
I've had it.
It's a great lunch meat.
I didn't want to like agree to it before I was completely sure.
It's if you get like a nice rye, toast your rye, get a little Russian dressing, a little coleslaw, and corned beef, and then next slice of rye. It's called a corned beef special. It's probably my favorite sandwich.
Do you like onions?
I do like onions.
Do you like onions?
I do.
Raw and cooked?
Yes.
How about you?
I'm Indian.
I feel like
have
you're.
to.
I feel like you're.
He
yeah.
answered that like you were
Yeah.
like, "Do you live dangerous?" And he was like, "I do. I live dangerously,
Why'd you
raw
ask?
and
Do you?
cooked."
Just cooked onions.
Just cooked onions.
Yeah, I can't really. eat raw
Sometimes
ones.
people have weird things.
Yeah, as
with
you get
onions.
older, the onions start to. Do you have any like? Well, we're talking about like.
Don't even get into it. Do you have any weird shit growing on you? I have this mole on my back.
No, I mean like food allergies. Like if I do eat raw onions, my stomach will just be like on the fridge.
My things are like beer.
Yeah.
I definitely can't drink near like. Not that I was I had a great capacity for beer at any one time, but definitely over the last couple of years, it's gone downhill.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing.
Well, it's a heavier beer, and honestly, maybe I'm just a bitch.
That could be too. But you do have fun scotches back.
Yeah, I
here.
just like
You're like, you're
scotch down into my belly.
Scotch is good. Well, I don't even drink scotch. I'm a bitch. I drink like Irish
Hey,
whiskey. And I
Baxter.
think I'm hard.
Baxter, I didn't know you speak Spanish.
Such a great movie.
Yeah, there's but that happened in Yardley with the Jews situation, and Yardley's been having a lot of weird stuff happen in front of me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, that wasn't even like on the level of 1 to 10. That ranks up at like a 2.5 of shit I've seen over the last 2
Well, the
weeks.
world is just getting weird, man. We're
Dude,
getting real weird. I don't know if you've noticed.
Dude, I was so like just thinking off the top of my head here. I saw a kindergarten age young man I guess he was with grandma because like it was like school times and the kids are back in school. So I'm assuming he's like kindergarten out with grandma walking. This kid like and this kid's walking on the sidewalk, and unfortunately there was a dead deer on the side, like, and it's where the pond is in Lake Afton. So like the edge of the road is like there's not a lot of shoulder before the sidewalk, and this kid just punts this dead deer as he's
my!
I'm driving towards Newtown, and grandma's walking like with a stroller.
You attract these
and
things. I'm
Yeah,
telling
for
you.
real.
Dude, and this little kid, and you know how little kids like walk and sometimes they like drag their feet a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, this kid like what? I was kind of like, oh, there's a dead deer right there. I'm like, what? This might affect the little guy. And he straight up just, well, bam, grandma, kicked this deer. I was like.
He was walking and just came by the dead deer and kicked it in its face.
Yeah. Well, it's like
This kid is cooler than me.
the grass. So it's like
And I'm not very
it's
cool.
road, and then there's only like 24 to like 30 inches of grass before the sidewalk because it's like an old town.
Right.
So there's not like it's like very like it's 25-mile-an-hour road. Like
Right.
this,
Yeah. I know.
I was like, dude, there's well, first off, what person couldn't have avoided that deer? You know what I'm saying? It's like a really slow driving road. If a deer pops out, it's like somebody hit that deer with intent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real.
It's like they accelerated towards it, you know. And then the better part is like,
Time to get a new bumper on my GX.
Insurance is gonna pay for this one.
yo, it's actually in front of the church.
Uh,
Yeah, so they came out and blessed it. Yeah, so the Lake Afton right there where the church is, if you know the spot, there was a dead deer there, and like
Is it still there?
somebody
I'm kinda
pulled it.
hungry.
Yeah, it was rigid today. Yeah, today go that way home.
Go that
Dude,
field.
and it was like rigid, so like somebody had to have like drug it into that spot. So maybe it was in the road. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, there's like kids feed the ducks like right here all day long. You're just gonna leave a dead deer here?
Yeah, dude.
But there wasn't. It was worth it.
I
It
was
paid.
driving.
It played out well for me.
I was driving home on Business Route 1, like from the Chamonix Mall, like going towards our area, and there was a deer that had just got hit, and it was like wobbling on the highway, and its back legs were like not like were dragging behind its front legs, and I was like, oh, that's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, you knew the deer was gonna die, and it was like crawling onto like the median to like basically die. I called my
So
buddy.
he's
I
on
was
like front wheel drive.
yeah, yeah, he was on front wheel drive. He was front wheel driving it.
Oh shit!
That's like a terrible thing to call like a paraplegic. You just got front wheel drive. That's all.
Oh my God.
I got hit by a car, man. Could be worse. It could be that bitch from North Korea.
Yeah, that chick's a liar. But anyway,
Oh, man.
Anyway.
But yeah, so I called my buddy, and apparently you can like, you can call the cops, and they'll come out and like shoot it, put it out its misery.
okay.
So I'm like, can you do that like for me? Call, because he knows some cops in like Middletown. And I was like,
He's got the numbers.
yeah, he's like, they're all union guys, so like they know, hang on in the same circle. So he's like, yeah, I got a buddy. They always have a buddy who does something, man.
Mm.
They have a buddy that does anything in the book.
Yeah, cops are
You're
like
like, I
that.
gotta make
They all have side jobs.
Yeah, yeah. Or
Or
like,
like when you meet cops, they're always like, "Yeah, but I'm in real estate too."
yeah,
It's like, what the fuck? When do you have time for that?
that's what I gotta do. I gotta give myself a side.
Yeah, I feel like Rambo's just gonna like tear this couch up over here.
Is he tearing the couch up?
I
That
feel
couch
like
is
there's
so
there's a
comfortable,
tennis
man.
ball underneath there, maybe.
That is one of the most comfortable couches.
The tennis ball gets stuck there. It's his new spot, bro.
We paused this broadcast for station identification.
Yeah, it's called canine intervention.
You lost it.
Gone, bro.
Yeah, sorry, Rambo. You're gonna need to learn that sometimes in life things don't always work out, and your father doesn't love you, and maybe you find out that your whole life's a sham. And this is not my life, Rambo. This is what your life could be like. If you don't stop drinking.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
So
just trying to fill some time while you got the fuck back here. I'm the host, and I'm going to go
yeah, I mean,
into the corner.
Yeah, I literally had to go into the
I
corner.
must give my dog the ball.
I didn't find it, so he's beat.
That would be so shitty if like you got to the last part of like Lord of the Rings and like Frodo was just looking for like a ball for his dog. You're like, we did this whole thing for this fucking ball.
That's not on the plot.
No,
of the movie
nobody
goes at
got
all.
that one. You can just scrub that out, Gilmore.
Not saying it.
This episode 100. There's no rules.
Yeah,
I got the ball.
wrong cut.
Yeah, it's
man.
crazy, man.
That's
But
what's-
anyway,
That's just good. When you make a bad joke, you always follow it up with like, well, that sucked. And people are like, yeah, it did.
yeah, it helps you out of it a little
Yeah.
bit. It's like it's your cane out of
Yeah.
the situation, right?
It really is. I mean, I've made so many bad jokes in my day. You gotta like figure out one to. I'll write jokes down. I don't know if some of them are funny, but I have this funny concept of a joke. I was at a concert last night, and it's like whenever you watch like women dance, they always look like they're taking a shower. Like first they get under the water and they're just like moving their hands, but then they go like full herbal essences on you, and it's like they do this herbal essence thing. Have you guys seen that?
Where were you
What
that girls
the
were doing
fuck?
shit like that?
They girls were like when they I was at My Morning Jacket concert. They're like kind of like psychedelic-y rock,
Okay.
like jam band.
Okay.
So it was like a jam band. I gave the backdrop. It was like a jam band demographic. So like a lot of like fuzzy white people.
A lot of hairy armpits.
Yeah, and like a lot of hairy armpits, stuff like
Bandanas.
that. Yeah, like Grateful Dead shirts.
denim bell bottoms.
So and we all don't know how to dance collectively.
Yeah.
So like the guys white guys like jam band dance like that. And then women women get in the shower.
Let's break it down. How do male jam band goers dance?
Like they're just kind of feeling the beat, but it's not the beat. It's like another beat to a song they heard, but they think that's the beat. They have absolutely no syncopation. But I just think it's like when women are out dancing. I was trying to make a joke about like how when women dance, it's like they go from like just stepping in the shower, just getting like little water on them, like hands at their sides, but then it's full on herbal essences to get. And the herbal essences was the funny reference because you remember in those
Yeah,
commercials.
but you're
That
date-
and Venus too. You could add Venus to
you
it.
could add Venus.
Yeah.
You could be like,
Venus.
Yeah.
I like this guy.
I'm your fire.
Oh, design.
But you remember those?
Yeah,
had to
Gilmore
finish it.
Limpton in the end.
We had to finish it.
I feel like for bald men, I need to like do some consumer research and see if Venus is any good for shaving.
I mean, that would be. We won't know until that
It
study is
is
conducted.
It is not for your face though, but for like it's like because the Venus has. I've used many of Venus,
Nice.
but they have like what men.
Conducting studies.
Yeah, they don't shave as close, but like men's razors like shave like ultra time close. They're like 5 blades, so you can scrape to the bottom of your
For maximum
you can-
irritation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can chop your face off. But the women's ones, it's like maybe 3, but they're like not as edge, and then they have a surrounding like soap layer, which is nice.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
the
maybe we
the moisturizing.
Guys,
layer.
if y'all want to just start shaving with Venus, and then we'll have a podcast about like
I haven't shaved.
Yeah,
in,
I just want to make sure that it's good for my weenus.
nice. You got to
That's
get
fact.
the angles just
Yeah,
right.
dude. Yeah, you gotta like stretch your face out.
Yeah, you gotta like peel your balls apart and get a good like landscape. It's like trying to mow a rocky mountain.
It's like
I don't recommend that.
it's like what Dave Chappelle
I
said.
love
that-
how he immediately put the lawnmower like on a slant.
Yeah, you gotta.
He
you
was
gotta
like,
really
it's like
know,
mowing on a mountain.
You gotta know your gradient and the angle, or you're gonna slice your balls open.
Yo, have you ever tried any of those like Manscaped products or
Yeah.
anything like
yeah,
that?
and they definitely cut you.
Yeah, they can still cut.
Yeah, they can still cut.
They can still
What-
cut, but I have a story about that.
And that's the one that's like the ball safe one.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
like the
Ju-
lawnmower.
The manscaper or whatever.
The
no,
the mower.
No, it's a
the
lawnmower,
motor two.
yeah.
The lawnmower.
I use one of those. Full disclosure, I use it on my balls and on my mustache
Huh.
because I'm an earthy man, and I believe in power of conservation of energy. and principles of that nature. But I like used that, right? And I had like a false sense of confidence that I had another pair of trimmers because I couldn't find that one. And I went in with like the same confident stroke, and I was like, good jerk. And I was like, hurt. And your balls bleed, man. They bleed.
They bleed like motherfuckers.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
They bleed for the Constitution. But yeah, it was. But the lawnmower is like, I haven't cut my balls on that. Unless you like put your ball skin into the razor teeth, which I don't know what you're into, but or maybe you just have an impressive ball skin. Hey, it's episode 100. We're pulling out all the stops.
Yeah, I always wondered in those commercials. They're like, your nuts are safe. I'm like, somehow I don't believe that.
Yeah.
But,
You can't. It's just not possible for you to get close and at the same time protect whatever it is. Any skin, even if it's over here, you just can't protect that shit because the whole point is like the shit goes side to side, and it's gotta have a certain length. If your skin gets in between there, it's fucking getting cut.
Yeah. I think now that I'm older, I like the idea of those electric razors. So you always have like.
Dude,
a
my
5 shadow.
grandfather back in the day, Cadillac man, would drive us to the beach down to Cape May, and he'd just be like listening to audiobooks, like mystery tapes, and he'd have like 4 of us in the back seat, like we'd have plenty of room. He'd sit there and be like, "Grandpa, I don't have a seatbelt." Be like, "I want to double up with your brother," and he'd just be like,
Using his electric razor,
and you'd have like no idea what the fuck was going on. And be like, "Oh, this is a good part, kids.
Yeah.
Listen up." And I'd be like, "This story, I have no idea what's going on, Grandpa. I am 6 years old. I do not follow this like murder mystery from like World War II." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, will they get the Nazis? I don't know, Grandpa. I don't know what a Nazi is.
I'm 6.
Yeah, dude.
putting on a book on tape in a car is like a real strong move because it's like, all right, everybody's gonna listen to the book I like, and you're like, nobody wants to
Oh
do
yeah,
this.
when you're with other people, that's crazy.
No, I mean when you're with Grandpa and like you're on that like red leather seats, like he doesn't give a shit what you have to
Oh
say.
yeah,
He,
guys.
you'll come out of
shit.
there, you'll say some
Oh,
stuff,
red
and be like,
leather.
"Kid,
That means you're
kid-
gonna bro him.
kid,
Oh, man.
dude, he would be like, you want a fat lip?" I'd be like, "Whoa."
You want me to give you a knuckle sandwich? I'm like, you would send me home injured to my mother? He's like, I would think about it.
Your mother dropped you off here for these reasons.
Yeah, the grandparents well, my parents really like dote on their grandchildren, but I feel like there does come a point where like you just get as an old man, you're just like, bah. So like everyone's just a nuisance. You're like, what do you want?
There's this video I've seen 1,000 times now on Instagram where it's just like successive clips of like somebody's grandfather like on their walker like walking into the family room and he's like, "God damn it, why does she have the AC on?"
Oh yeah.
And then she just "God damn it, Karen, the AC." And it's just like everybody in the room's like,
My dad does shit
they
like
just
that.
laugh. They're already laughing when he walks in the room. They're like, "Here comes Grandpa." He's like, "Girl, why does this woman?"
It's all the AC though. Every single take is like
It's like
complaining about
the air conditioning.
It's like every day goes by the same result, and he does like nothing to fix it. But he likes. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe that's just when you start losing your mind. But I kind of like look forward to that because I feel like now at this age you think too much. You're like, how's my 401k doing? What am I doing? Like, how am I doing my job? Like, gotta pick up the dry
Gotta
cleaner.
get a 401k.
Gotta whatever. You're like,
Yeah, write it down.
you think about all the stresses of life, and then once you get to an old man, you're like, I just shit my pants and the air's too cold. Like, that's the 4th time today I shit my pants. That's got to be some sort of personal record. Honey, how many times have I shit my pants?
How old are you when you're gonna start like I don't know if I'm gonna be coherent.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to shit my pants though.
Yeah. You're going to have to.
You're gonna go out.
Does
before
everybody have to though? Like, is that like a rite of passage? Like
Yeah, you
you
can't.
join the club.
Your fucking ass isn't as tight anymore.
You're just like rolling shuffleboard at the old folks' home. You're like, oh, gotta step aside. And your friend Jerry, who's like, I know what you need, Dave. Take one of these. Adult diapers. We all wear them. Welcome to the club.
Great
Is that why
commercial.
John smells like shit all the time? Yeah. He shits his pants and he sits in it.
What the fuck is this
It's a
commercial?
secret commercial for
Get out of here.
It's a
diapers.
very extended commercial.
He's a pretty fucked up individual.
Cut.
Jesus, they've only had one beer. What the fuck?
Yeah, the commercial's over. It's,
Dude,
the
I woke
product's
up
been
today-
canceled.
I felt like shit today, dude. I drank way too much last night. I didn't eat anything. I was headbanging like at the end of the concert. They always finish
Oh, the
with this.
concert. I was gonna what for the Jewish holiday.
You text me, you're like, episode 100, let's go, you ready? And I was like, of course, it's fucking Andrew, like 8 o'clock. I knew he'd already been up for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the
Bro, I thought you'd be at work or something.
And of course, I queue up. I'm like, dude, I can't make it tonight because I'm dumb. But I was like, no, I gotta like beast through this. I took a ton of Advil. I probably took way too much Advil and a Xanax.
How much is way too much?
I don't
His
know.
liver is dead now.
Yeah,
His liver is
for
gone.
I did not process that beer. I do not have a liver. I don't want that shit to happen either. That shit or fucking, what do they put people on with kidney dialysis?
Dialysis.
I don't want that.
Mm.
I want to keep eating all the shit I do and all the bad stuff I do, but I don't want any of those three. I don't want to show my parents dialysis or liver failure. A heart attack, I'm cool
What
with.
about
but I feel-
Alzheimer's?
Nah, that would suck too. I'm
So
being
gotta
very
add it to
choosy.
the
I'm
list.
like, I'm so entitled. I'm like trying to pick and choose.
All
the
right,
diseases
so
I'm
let's.
gonna
I mean,
die from.
it sounds like it'd be a lot easier to ask you what you do want.
Yeah, you
A
gotta
heart
choose one.
attack. A heart attack would be great.
Like a big one.
Yeah. Those guys never suffer. They're just like, Gary had a heart attack on the golf course, but he loved golf.
Why is Jerry always dying?
It's always Gary or Jerry.
So where do you want to have your heart attack at?
I don't know. I'm probably in a strip club. I was going to be like, church.
Probably in a strip mall.
Next to a strip
I want to
club.
go to the
shopping.
subway in the strip mall.
Yeah, I'm gonna be at the Vans outlet. Let's go down.
The Vans outlet.
Oh, man.
It's fucking stupid. What about you, Sonny? Where'd you have your heart attack?
Dude, there was some dude that... I was
Wait, I want to know where Sonny would have his heart attack.
Oh,
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
probably
shut up,
on the
Dave.
probably on the track, and then I'll just hit a wall.
Jesus.
He'll be like, oh, I missed second.
This is awesome.
Smash. Be like, oh, Sonny's taking turn 4 too high.
At least I hit the apex before I collapsed.
Yeah, you crashed coming out of the turn, not going in, right?
Boy, he really missed that exit.
I always think about like how dying on impact would be like if you were going fast enough, be like, oh, he was dead on impact. I'm like, was he?
Yeah.
Or was it like that 2 seconds where you're like, this sucks?
No, well, I mean, like, there's like ways to calculate the energy, like where your bones are more dense than like your skin, essentially. So if like your body accelerates and then decelerates, your bones like leave your body.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Your like skeleton comes out a little bit.
Yeah. That's why people would be like, yeah, why do you wear a helmet? I'm like, to catch my face,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
people
yeah.
wouldn't think that was funny.
I never thought of it that way.
I feel like I had to catch my face, and they're like, what? And they're like, oh yeah.
You have a neat little place to put all the shit.
Yeah.
See, your brains will
I
do
stole that
everything.
from a show. Top
Oh,
Gear.
man. But think about dying in an airplane like you're going 500 miles an hour into the ground.
Yeah, that energy.
But like, what about those people?
Yeah,
in
let's
the,
not even talk about that. Nerd.
what about those people in the back of the plane that are like grabbing something from the cart like right at impact? Like, we need to get one more bite of this donut.
They don't have donuts on planes.
Yes, they
One.
do.
Yeah, like, don't wear.
What are you guys
What is
talking
this,
about?
1995?
Yeah,
Like,
what the
seriously?
fuck? I fly
Seriously.
Dunkin'
What is your
Donut
name?
Airways.
What do you
Kevin
just-
McAllister? What are you, like, Home Alone?
Hey, listen, man.
What do you like? See your family off at the gate?
Yes.
Yes.
Without
Without identification?
Yeah.
Well,
without
like,
a ticket.
what is your like cousins come and visit and you got to like fold up the back seat in the station wagon?
Look, I'm
Jesus
just saying,
Christ,
if there's donuts on an airplane, I
Drive-in
want to
movies?
bite of one before I go out.
That's true. I watched a movie, Clear and Present Danger. No, that wasn't it. It was.
Just made that up.
Yeah, no.
Was it
no, I watched that too.
Miscongeniality?
No, it's the one. It's a '90s movie where they're like trying to load the money from one plane down to the other plane,
Money plane?
and I was thinking about that.
What is it?
It'll-
Snakes on a plane?
It'll come to
Con
me.
Air? Who was in it?
'90s movie. It was Harrison Ford.
Wasn't Air Force
Money
One,
plane.
Money plane. Nah, it wasn't Air Force
right?
One.
Patriot Games.
Soul plane.
Nah.
Soul plane.
Nah.
Oh.
IMDb. No, but seriously, straight up,
It's
Harrison
like a
Ford's-
Clancy.
Was it Air Force One?
Nah, just go to his IMDb. I'll tell you where.
We got to know this now.
Oh Jesus, go faster! Oh my God! Oh my God!
My God.
Harrison.
IMDb Harrison Ford.
Sorry, I had something in my eye.
I think it might have been Clear and Present Danger.
Sorry, it's something in my ass. It's out of my ass though. It's on the table over there.
It's in my adult diaper now.
There's so many
You're
fucking.
gonna have to go back here in 2013. I'm talking 90s. I don't watch
Damn,
any
this
of
guy's
those.
been putting out some movies.
All right, ready? We got
Oh, right here.
Patriot Games.
Yeah, Jack Ryan, Clear and Present Danger. Get fucked, dude.
Get fucked.
He's the original
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These were.
But I actually think the movie I'm talking about might not be this movie, but I watched this movie a few minutes before that movie, so they're the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I was going on a Van Damme kick. You ever watch any Van Damme movies?
Big fan.
JCD.
He's
Van
done
Damme.
some stuff with subtitles too, which I like.
Oh yeah, well there's Van Damme. My brother is Captain America. Like 13% of it is blamed on Van Damme.
Yeah.
Then you got a little bit of Chuck Norris in there. Sylvester Stallone, Demolition Man, probably rubbed off on my brother a little bit too hard. The movie Soldier with
Soldier.
Kurt Russell.
Yeah, yeah.
That was insane.
synthetic soldiers.
Yeah, we were definitely hooked on that one. But yeah, Van Damme came out with like Last Action Hero, Hard Target, Street Fighter.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
so
they're
many.
on there. Death Warrant, dude, all day. Bloodsport. Let me get some
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport. Let's click
And you
on-
know that these all made money. Like,
if
you're making a movie called Bloodsport and you're not making at least $100,
no,
Least
no, let's be very clear about it. Like, if you are into MMA or any sort of fighting and you've
That's not-
never seen the movie Bloodsport, just leave.
that's a great movie. At the end, that Jack Chinese guy,
He's
that
in
guy's
Ninja Turtles.
super jacked.
Oh,
That
that guy
guy's
was jacked.
he's in Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
pretty sure.
that's a pretty big showdown as far as like movie scenes are.
I heard a story with Brendan Schaub. You know the comedian.
I love Brendan Schaub.
Yeah, so he tells a story where he's lifting in Gold's Gym, I think, in like the 80s or the 90s, because his uncle was like a huge power lifter. And he saw that Asian dude at the gym, and they said, like, what's up to him? And he was just like, no.
Yeah, I don't
Just
want
like-
this.
Bumped it. They were like, just give me a pec flex.
Dude, I guess that you gotta take steroids to look like that though, right?
Yes. Proper, yes. Bolo Ying.
Oh, that's the.
Yeah, dude, look at that guy. He
I'm
just
gonna
looks
refrain from making any sort of.
yeah. That's okay. We cannot edit it. Yeah, was born in China. He began his martial arts age of 10. A little late, just saying. Everybody starts karate.
I don't know.
At
I
age
got
6.
my ass whooped by a 10-year-old last week, man.
Growing up, he took interest in bodybuilding. Later, became known as Chinese Hercules after becoming Mr. Hong Kong bodybuilding champion. Like, no homo. This dude's pecs are
He's
insane.
enormous. But you know
Insane.
what? At the end of that movie, doesn't he get like knocked out by like a kick? Like, doesn't he go up and just kick him? And it's like it's climactic, but it's
Yeah, that picture.
anticlimactic.
Yeah, oh my god, dude, he looks like insane.
But he kills in that movie. He kills a dude before he fights Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, in the round.
He's like,
before,
ha! And then he
Death
doesn't he
punch.
neck him.
yeah.
He like does the neck, and he's just like, bah! Like if we could, I mean, I don't know if you can pull that scene up. That's a pretty.
Look how much
crazy
bigger
scene.
he is than Bruce Lee, though.
Well,
I mean,
Bruce Lee was.
was like 135 pounds.
Yeah, that picture's insane right there. The one on the left.
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
It's like a statue or whatever.
I'm so upset, like how they mucked up the.
We're looking at male chests right now. Let's
Yeah.
just keep that in mind.
They
We
mucked up
are
the-
a fair show.
every iteration of like the Mortal Kombat movies. They screwed up. Did you see the new Mortal Kombat movie?
Absolutely not.
I did because it's on HBO Max for free. But it was like it was such a letdown. I was like,
I'll be
man.
completely honest with you about
beginning
Mortal
was
Kombat.
cool.
Mortal Kombat 1, game changer for me.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 2, my brother was getting his tonsils out, right? So I got taken to the movies as a way to like occupy my time. And the movie was such trash. I was literally like, the individual I was with, I told him, I was like, look, this movie sucked so bad.
Oh yeah.
I wish I stayed at the hospital the entire time. And I got called an ungrateful brat. But that movie absolutely sucked.
Yeah, it was.
Mortal Kombat 1 was a
And I was not
classic.
that old. My brother got his tonsils out when he was like 7, so I was 9. I was like, this movie sucks. We should have stayed at the hospital.
Did you
You're
guys-
not grateful.
Did you guys do a lot of the arcades when you were growing up? Like, they were very popular when we were younger.
Not,
Yes.
not as much. I played like a little bit of video games growing up, but we were just way into like
Hunting and
running,
fishing.
running around like
Building
mad.
things.
We definitely didn't have any hunting and fishing at that age because it was like all out single mom time, where it was just like
You guys were into, like,
skateboards and
Getting in trouble.
dirt bikes and like the big thing for us, like the big game changer, were like those Factor X ramps. Dude, do you hear that?
Yeah,
on the thing?
Factor X.
Not really. It's kind
Yo,
of
if
faint.
Enzo hears this podcast, he's gonna lose his mind. As soon as he hears a squeaky, he's like, high alert.
I feel like we can hear that.
Yeah, kind of.
They love that noise.
Wait, no. Wait. Yeah, you can hear it. Yeah. Right on.
Yeah, Rambo.
We actually run a nursery next door.
He's
We're a media company, a nursery, and a home construction.
We do a ton of things here.
All right, so in the meantime,
Yeah.
I live in New York City, and I think like they announced that whole vaccine passport bullshit about a month ago, a little over a month, just about a month ago. And then I started going to restaurants, and then they started like requesting it at that time. I guess they were practicing or some shit. It wasn't getting
What's this, the
enforced.
vaccine passport?
Yeah, the vaccine passport. And they were just like, oh, yeah, like, make sure, like, next time you come, like, you have that shit. I was like, yeah, okay.
Right.
I'm not coming back.
And how long
Thanks.
ago was this?
This was maybe the 15th of August.
Is
Okay,
it
so-
lenient? Like, are they strict about it?
No, they're pretty strict about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, wherever.
So they started to get more strict about it, or they started off?
So
strict?
they started off. It depends on the restaurant. So basically, the more
Fancy.
fancy and nice the restaurant, they were just like, for the day they announced it, they're just like, you must have it. Oh my God, you must have
So
it.
McDonald's
So-
maybe not, but an Arby's probably yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, and you know that's funny. It's even reached. My friend even told me, he's like, yeah, you know, I tried dining in on Chipotle, and I think it was in like a super touristy area because the one I go to, they don't ask for shit.
Yeah.
But
You go to that hole in the wall
they're like,
Chipotle.
yeah.
That might
Yo,
not
what's
be a
up?
Chipotle.
yeah. the AC doesn't even work
It's
there.
a rub and tug, but they make burritos.
yeah. But yeah, so they were asking him, and then he was just like, oh, you know what? I'll just take it out. And then he remembered that he didn't drive there. He walked there. So he's like, where the fuck am I going to eat this thing? So then he just left.
So like, what do you when you go out now? Like, all the restaurants are like checking, or just
All of them check. But I don't go out that much, to be honest.
But they check your vaccine. Are you vaccinated?
No.
So you have to show them a negative test, or what do you have to show them?
No. They, I'm pretty sure they only accept the card.
The vaccine card.
The vaccine card,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm
'cause I
pretty
just-
they,
I was
or
up-
like a picture of it or whatever.
I was
See,
up
there's-
in New
that-
York, and
that's
I was
interesting.
I was going in a place. I was like FBI. They're like, that doesn't work, sir, and that's not an FBI badge. And I was like, can I
That
just get
says
it for-
female body inspector.
Hey,
he's like, I take my job
hey.
very fucking seriously.
Now let me inspect those boobies.
It's a great place for New
I was
York
also
food.
I was also arrested in New York last week. Totally
Free
unrelated story.
mammograms.
I went to Chipotle and I got arrested last week in New York, so that was my time in New York. So it's funny you say that because last time I went to the concert and they said you have to have the vaccine card or a proof of a negative test within 48 hours. So I had to go to urgent care and get like a negative test, which is not fun.
Yeah, but President Biden's urging that they announced it today that he's going to urge like all large corporations and larger
Yeah.
companies
My
to
sister's
like
corporation
like
already.
either like make your people get the vaccine or start paying for weekly tests.
That's crazy.
That's what the option is. So I think that
well, you know,
a lot of people. Well, there's like some cities that I forget what city it was that I heard.
Well,
I want to say it was Seattle. Said that like there was like a handful of places that were like, if you don't have your vaccination, whatever, like you can't come dine here. And then when you broke down all of the restaurants that actually did it, it was like 6 restaurants out of like 3,000 actually followed through on it. And of those 6 restaurants, 3 or 4 of them are owned by the same 3 dudes.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
you gotta-
literally like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like
Is that
everybody,
Seattle or St. Louis?
maybe it was St. Louis.
Yeah.
I read
think
about
heard
it
was-
on like
okay. if
the
you read
Andy
about
thing.
I
it.
think
Oh,
that-
then it's St. Louis.
It was
yeah.
by St. Louis. Though.
that's
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah,
You're gonna
then
have,
well, that would make sense because they're based in St. Louis.
you have
Yeah.
places
I'm an
that,
idiot.
places
No,
that
cool.
care and places that don't care. Like I could have showed that I had a piece of paper from urgent care printed out that I could have faked myself, and not waited an hour in a waiting room and 15 minutes for the test. And when I went up and showed them, they were like, "Oh yeah, that looks good." I could have given them like a recipe, like my grandmother's recipe for like bundt cake.
What? the-
Yes,
Like
so
this
like
looks good.
the
What is that?
conflict-
2 cups of sugar? Yeah, you're good.
The conflict I have with that is like there's two problems with that fundamentally. Is that like society, like the way society is shaped essentially is a bell curve kind of, right? So in the center you have your people that are really good looking, really intelligent, really athletically talented, tall, like all like you're rare.
Normally distributed.
Yeah, so like that person's very rare, but like the people that are like the abundance of our country
Or like Walmart shoppers.
are Walmart shoppers.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I like Walmart too.
the danger
I'm a
of all
Walmart.
this information that's getting processed and like all this like fear mongering that's
Oh, yeah.
happening is it's being digested by
By the-
people that
yeah.
aren't the same as us. I'm not saying this to like be insulting or like say that like we're superior in this room, but like we're into like having conversations
I
about like
wouldn't-
theories and ideas and stuff like that, whereas like normal people are just surviving or
Yeah.
they're in their bubble or wherever their state is, and all those people are absorbing information right now at like a super high rate. And what's worrisome for like me is that like I see the information and I have problem solving abilities
Right.
that I've either
When
grew
you
up with
start
or
to
whatever,
analyze it in
and
a
it's just
rational
like
way.
it's like wow, I clearly see how like inappropriate these measures are, or how invalid, like how wrong or how like ineffective this measure is, or what, or like whatever
A
the
lot of other
situation. And it's just
factors
like
that it doesn't
the
take
fuck.
into- take
It's like
into
all these
account.
people are just blindly trusting all this information they're given,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
It's
like,
easy.
oh Jesus Christ! Because when you get into the nuts and bolts of it, I mean I've stopped discussing this with people because it usually just gets out of hand. But when you ask questions, they automatically assume that like you're assaulting their knowledge and that like you know the answer to the questions.
Yeah.
But it's like you go and be like, well, hey, like, do you like how many people have died from corona in this whole situation? Like people don't know. It's like, okay, the number's big to you. You don't know what the number actually is anymore because they stopped showing it in
Well,
the
that's
CNN.
that's
But it's like how many of those people were like critically essential?
Comorbidities.
How
Main thing,
we're old? How
comorbidities.
many of those people would have died this year anyway? How, like, not to be morbid or anything, like how many of those people were gonna die this year
Yeah.
anyway?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Like things like
I
that
think-
aren't being discussed, and it's like no, we can't.
The
That's
data is not
inappropriate.
being-
But
Well,
it's like
I think
those are relevant questions.
Yeah, and I think like another thing that I kept thinking about is like I'm pretty sure I got COVID twice last year.
Same.
So the first time was like during the time that everything got locked down, March 12th, right? That's the time I got infected. I was like locked down with my family. And at that time I was like really fat, out of shape, everything was wrong with me. And I was down for like 3 weeks. I was probably the sickest I've ever been in like 15 years at that point, probably since 9th grade or whatever. And then I got it again in November around Thanksgiving time. And I was really fit. I lost 35 pounds or something like that. And I was down for only about a day. And then afterwards, I just had loss of taste for 3 weeks. But I was able to function completely normally. Obviously, I didn't go anywhere to not spread it and stuff. But
Well,
yeah, I
you
would
were
just,
a
like, work out
respectful
as
human
size.
being.
Huh?
You were a respectful human being. I'm not telling people to like get the corona and like go around coughing on other people,
Yeah,
but like the
well,
fact
no, I
that
know
the
that,
vaccine
but-
has to get like the one thing like here, like a historical point that we can point out is everybody's familiar with polio, like the vaccine that came out. Nobody actually even fucking knows what that disease does to you probably anymore, but it was horrific. And they came out with a vaccination and they didn't like do all the testing. And back then there really wasn't like set procedures on that stuff, and the FDA approved it. That vaccine, the initial run of that vaccine caused an insane amount of cervical cancer in women. Like they just were like, "Oh, polio is really fucking bad. We need the vaccine." Blindly ran into all that, and then all those people died from cancer.
So you're
Probably very miserably.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of like, what are you running away from And what are you running to? We know what we're running away from. And to me, it's on paper, it's bad, but it's really not that bad.
Yes.
And we're running to something we absolutely
Completely
have no
unknown.
idea.
Completely
right.
unknown.
And when you say that to people, they call you an asshole.
Right. And
And it's like, but what are we? But like, I'm just saying, I'm not like trying to have an agenda or put my agenda on you or like I don't even want to have an agenda. I want to have the information that's available.
never gonna.
And then make a decision from there. And thus, the information that's available to us right now made my fucking decision.
Right.
It's not.
Right. There's not the information is that there's not enough information. The data collection on this stuff is horrible. There's no data for like comorbidities or who's like even like the demographics of the people who have died. It's not readily available to the public. It's not readily broadcasted. And people are.
It's
and they're
not
saying,
readily available in the sense that it's like Karen's not posting it in her status updates,
Well,
but it is available if you go and look for
But
it.
like, understand like even the data. Like you got to think like you know, as a scientist or like as like a someone that's making decisions or whatever. Like think about the data collection procedures to even collect that data. Is that we haven't even been. We're not even able to see into that process. So it's like,
Then how do we know that the
you
numbers
don't. It's
that
all-
are even?
it's like it's nonsense. It's fucking bullshit. And what you're saying is kind of interesting because I haven't heard it spun that way. Is like, like I fucking stay away from the first iteration of everything. Like when you build anything.
Oh, new model of car?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, exactly.
When you-
First year.
First
no.
year's always
Unless
a
it's
problem.
Toyota, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'll set
Like
it out.
I built my first house, completely fell down on a couple. Now I was insured, but like wasn't the best. Second house stood up, but like I'm not going to get that first shot because I'm like, nah. You can experiment with all the other monkeys because that's what we all fucking are, and that's what they treat us like. And it's like, like I'm good. I don't want, like you were saying, like it's not something I'd rather take my chances with COVID than. And what's crazy too is they've gotten in people's mind. They're like, if you're not that, then you could be a super spreader, and you're not caring about the person next to you. I'm like, this is such
everything's
nonsense.
changed. Well, everything's changed because, like in April, they were saying that, oh, you can't spread it if you get the vaccine, and then now they're saying that, like, oh, by the way, you can spread it if you do get the vaccine.
Right.
Well,
So, like, they
there
just
was
keep
a.
changing
They
it.
don't even
I
know.
shared that
But, like,
stat with you. I think I shared it with Gilmore. I'll pull it up real quick. But it was basically CDC studies. This is CNBC.com. CDC study shows 74% of people infected in Massachusetts COVID outbreak were fully vaccinated.
Right.
And this
Israel
comes with a
shows
song.
more
This comes
troubling
with a song.
numbers,
But
too.
then if you,
That's a pretty large percent. Think of all the money spent making a vaccine. Now look what's happening.
And this dude made this song to this.
I just
thing.
love
and then,
all
then
the-
CNN ran that as news.
like we suffer.
I was like, what are you kidding me?
The whole country, the whole world suffers from like confirmation bias. You see one thing, it's like, well, my grandparents had it and they had a really tough time, so I'm going to protect my grandparents to get a vaccine. And then the other person's like, well, I know 5 people who had it and there's nothing wrong, nothing happened with them, so I'm not getting the vaccine. It's like everybody, and like you could be like, everybody takes one instance or shitty data and then they'll make a huge assumption, and then that assumption will like govern how they make decisions, and then we infight based on people that think like that.
Yeah, it very much seems. Well, a lot of things are happening and at play here. A lot of people are saying that there's like a huge conspiracy movement and things like that, and I don't
I wouldn't
think
be
people.
surprised.
I don't know that people are smart enough to do shit like that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think
Dude.
it's more. I think it's more natural than that, because if you think about the way like economically we're split up right now, I think in like the 1890s, like in at least Manhattan or New York, like 4 or 6% of the whole city, or no, it was like 6% of the population owned like 96% of the wealth in the city. Whereas today, like that shrunk. So instead of like 6% of the people owning like a vast majority of the wealth, it's like 1% has it.
Yeah.
So, realistically, like if you've consolidated wealth and like those wealth decisions are made by less and less people, like without them even conspiring, whatever the agenda is at that level will automatically take precedent naturally, because that's just human
That's what
behavior.
the stock market's
Yeah,
for.
it's like if we get drunk, we're all just gonna go to Wendy's, right?
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you're just rich as shit. So you're making decisions that are like the agenda at that level.
right, right.
So it's like
you're
you-
operating. And I read an interesting article about this, about how like Jack Ma got in trouble with China, or apparently he, like, disappeared. So the theory is that, like, China doesn't want what America has, where America is run by billionaires. It's not run by the government. The government's controlled by all the billionaire lobbyists, whatever. Like, that's what goes on in this country. And in China, it's like they don't want their billionaires to become too powerful. So they basically tell them, like, hey, the state runs you, no matter how powerful you get. And they just take these people away. So, like, don't forget who runs China. China runs China.
And it's not even just the billionaires, though. Like, you have to look at yourself, and this 100% of this came from 2 books. So, like, whatever I'm about to say, do not think I'm some sort of, like, special human being or anything, because it's literally getting regurgitated from a fucking book I read. It's going to sound wild, so I don't want to, like... Gotta say it's from a book. So, like, the whole sovereign thing, like, the sovereign individual, like, the idea is that as individuals amass wealth, and that wealth is digitized, which is like cryptocurrency, like the governments will have less and less ability to like reach out and grab that. So like the money will be separate. And for the first time ever, like transactions and things like we won't need, previously we needed the government because they controlled violence. So if somebody didn't fucking pay you, you went and called the government, they went and got your money. Like rudimentary, the feudal ages all the way up. It's now very like, seems very sophisticated, but our economy is exactly the same way. The government is in place. The court, you call the court. Oh, they didn't pay us. We're going to call the court. That's the only fucking reason they're involved.
So
to grab the money.
Like a
they are the government is in place to be is an intermediary. They just take the money from one thing to the other, and some of it gets wasted. It's like transaction costs. Transaction costs being like the military, like healthcare, all this wasteful spending. Whatever where they're giving out free stuff. What do they call that now? Entitlements stuff. All that stuff is like the dollar like loses money or loses as it's going through the system. The transactions
every single transaction
so
is
the
taxed,
crypto system is superior in the sense that it's more efficient. Like all those transactions don't need institutions to manage them. So it's going to evaporate all those institutions. So the government long term basically will be privatized. Not in the sense that it'll be like a private organization, but like very rich people will reach out to the government and bid out the services more and more. It's like, okay, I'm rich as fuck. Fuck the police, dude. I've got retired Navy SEALs working for me now. Boom. First level. Security. You're now in control. You're in a little mini army. Next level, it's like currency. You can control transactions within your sovereign area. Like if you were a king, you would issue like your trade system, whether it was like a currency or you guys were trading like whatever the products were. So like the cryptocurrency market has like created this. So like if you're rich as fuck, you can create your own security. You can create your own economy. You don't have to pay taxes if you don't want to anymore because of tax deferment laws and things like that. And then you have countries like El Salvador that's like, hey, we get this. Come here first. So people won't like, there no longer will be like citizens of the United States. You will be like just your own dude floating through all these different places, and it doesn't fucking matter where you are. The internet allows you to conduct business and do all these things without the government in place.
That's kind of like where we'll end up, right? Like, and if there's so many iterations of generations of people, like eventually you will become a homogeneous
some
society.
people think it's going to happen way faster than
I would imagine.
There's some people that say this is going to happen within our lifetime.
I don't know.
Oh, it definitely will, yeah.
Because of the rate, like the book
so
that book that I'm like talking on was written in like 1996 and was revised in 97. Cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin, wasn't invented until like 2008 or 2006 maybe. So like less than 10 years after this book, the currency system that they were talking about was invented. And then we're how many years? Like 15 or so years out of that iteration. Like now large institutions are adopting cryptocurrency.
I think
a country just adopted cryptocurrency as their largest
holding. You have to be very like, you have to just be on what the banks are going to do, because like the banks, if they do, like, you know, everybody has some sort of power in government, and at the end of the
banks
day,
don't hold the majority of like the currency anymore.
But at the end of the day, government, like if you look at something like China, which is like totalitarian government, like they have the power to stamp out anything they want to stamp out. So it's like you have to have a little bit of free enterprise for this kind of like to grow on a side scale. I do agree with you in the fact that, like,
But what did China do earlier this year? They banned Bitcoin. And what did all the Bitcoin miners do? They packed up shop. They fucking left China and started mining in other places in the world that were like, here, we have this empty warehouse. There's a dam down the river. You can pull the electricity from that dam. We want you here in Canada.
But they're also stressed, too.
That
Like, I bet a lot of
happened
these
to me.
countries that happen, like, China's sitting pretty, and they know they're sitting pretty. They have a stranglehold on just about everything.
Yeah, but how are they sitting pretty?
If
They have the largest population in the world.
They can destroy the world if they wanted to. They could make the world a really shitty place. They could say, you know what? Supply lines, cut them. We have the people, because at the end of the day, like, you've listened to, like, there's so many motifs here, and I agree with so many things you say.
No, I agree.
I'm just playing
but
devil's
like
advocate.
in short term, like the book also predicts all of that.
Yeah,
I
like
governments,
the stuff that you read. I'm always like, what do you read?
The governments will like some governments will come to its aid. Some governments will take up a stand because like if cryptocurrency gets fully adopted, they no longer have control over like the financial institutions, which means they no longer have control over taxation, which means they have no fuel.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's that.
So they're fighting to stay alive.
Right.
So like all these institutions, like the same with the media.
That's a lot of heavy subject matter, but that's
The
like
same with the
interesting
media.
'cause
But
that's
like
what's
this is going
happening
back
right
to
now.
like the news, which is like my original point is like the same thing that's happening to our government, which is what we're watching, is like our government struggling to survive. Fundamentally, that's what's happening. The media is the same thing because now your choice of news, you just go, fuck CNBC, I don't need them. I like this, and this, and this, and you like tailor the news for you. So all of these news institutions, like they're evaporating, and then you have all these YouTubers and stuff. Like people's information doesn't even come from the news anymore. The generations before us do, but like think about it when my mom's, what is it, 21? My mom's 71 years old. Watches the news.
Oh yeah, they love it.
Right? But she's on Instagram a lot. So like go 5 years younger, 6 years younger, 7 years younger, 10 years younger. Like those people aren't going to be watching the news. So like what is all of this now? It's just bullshit. So like I think there is some distraction behind all this. That's what I think it is. I think it's meant to distract the people that still watch this shit because they're the ones that are still paying taxes more so than the rest.
And things happen on like a exponential scale. So as stuff changes, it's only going to change more rapidly. Like
I'm pumped for it.
So 20 years is going to be what 50 years was. You know what I mean?
Well, they're calling like 2046 is like the.
Well, we might not even have a planet by then. So like.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Fuck
We
it.
got like tornadoes in our backyard. Everything's fine. Everything's good. Don't know.
Yeah,
But
but that's
where
another thing that's fucking ass backwards. Like, do I believe in some sort of climate change? Of course I do. But like, how long ago were we tracking temperatures?
Right. We don't have.
How long ago? How long have we been on this planet?
I think
a long fucking time. How long have we been tracking temperatures? A few hundred years at best, accurately.
But I think the world will take
In
care of
some
itself.
areas. How do you know? How does some fucking
That's
philosopher?
the next like wave of lockdowns anyway.
What's
It's
this?
just like, oh yeah, like let's just save the planet and just like lock everything down. I don't know if it's gonna work, but
That's why everybody has to adopt crypto because that's like I'm legitimately into crypto, not because of like getting rich is great, right?
Well-
but like the fact that the government will no longer have a hold on this, like we all agree, like everybody in this room at one time or another was like labeled a different thing, like right wing, I don't fucking know. Left wing, like Republican, Democrat, like this. But like, to be honest with you, I'm not Democrat or right wing at all. Like, I think abortion shouldn't be in politics, but I also I believe in guns being available to people.
I'm a big fan
but
of,
I also,
of the National Socialist Party. You know,
but it's like all these things are just like we all
the
pretty much
Nazis first.
agree on. Like, if you sit down in a room, it's much easier to be like, hey, what do we agree on? Than like going and picking out.
Well,
like,
we better
the
start
COVID thing.
thinking
That's why
like
I
that.
stopped
There's
doing.
one
That's why I
major-
stopped doing. I'm like, oh well, what do we agree on? So like when we go into places and they're like, oh, mask up, and I'm like, no, we can agree that this
Dude, I
is.
take my pants off. I'm
Yeah.
like pants down.
Yeah, like every
Do
time
a
they say
wiener spin.
every time they say mask on, you just
Sir,
take
you
one
can't
more article
do that
of
at
clothing.
Chipotle. This is the third time this week.
Put away
Show
your
my-
burrito.
Show my dick up at Chipotle. Shit.
There's so much. You know, one thing that I see with a lot of Indians who have moved here is the thing that they really appreciate about America.
Wait,
is
you're
that-
Indian?
Yeah.
I thought you were just really tan.
Oh, thank you.
You look great.
But like one thing that I've seen is that they absolutely love. I mean, I love it too. Is that like here? There's not that culture of everyone's in your business, right? Like for example, my wife was just telling me the other day. She's like, I wish we could wear like girls could wear American clothes, like dresses, regular dresses and stuff, to a wedding because then it just makes things easier. I'm like, why is that? She said, when you go to an Indian wedding and you got to wear Indian clothes, you got to think about the family that's hosting the wedding. How much are they into style? Because if they're not into style or they're not into fashion, then you will probably outdo them. Like your outfit will be better than theirs. And then you're going to look like an asshole. This is all shit that you got to think about in like other cultures.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like that exists in our culture too.
I mean,
Well,
it does, but like here, there's this major thing where it's just like everyone just kept to themselves, and for the most part, people. Keep to
no
themselves.
one's throwing
And
like
that's
they're
the
throwing
problem.
bows over like a hat, like a
So-
fancy
Have you
hat.
been to India?
No, but do you guys wear like the really flamboyant, like colorful? Like you have I went to school with a lot of Indian guys, have a lot of Indian friends, and they have this dance every year that we do. I forget what it's called, like they all like
crip walk?
dress up.
Garba, yeah.
Yeah, Garba, and that was it's a huge thing in there. Like everybody gets down, like it's a huge party.
Right.
Do you wear like those kind of clothes? Like you have to.
Yeah,
like,
those kind of clothes.
okay.
Yeah.
So you don't want to look like royalty compared to like somebody.
Yeah, compared to whoever's
yeah,
hosting the
because
thing.
this is like top notch clothing.
Indian wedding garb. Let's go.
It's not like just a shirt tie. Like you look like someone from like Dragon Ball Z, like showing up, going to Kamehameha somebody.
Kamehameha
You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, but now what I see is that like people are just so into each other's business. It's like, oh, did you?
Oh, that-
like,
that green
did you
piece
do
on the right
this?
there.
Did you do that? Like, did you get the vaccine? Like, you're gonna put other people at risk.
Indian
And,
culture
like-
is more like that.
No, I'm just
Or
saying in
people in
general.
general?
Like I'm saying like people here now. That's what I'm seeing is like everyone's in each other's business now. Now it's like, oh, did you do this? Do you believe in this? Do you believe in that? It's like before, no one asked anybody anything. You know,
Yeah.
before it
Yeah.
was just like, hey, let's go get a drink. Let's
Yeah.
go hang out. Let's do this. And now it's just like the biggest question for me is like, okay, I had COVID twice last year. The reason why I brought it up is no one fucking asked me about my antibodies. What about that? That's like the number one question. It's like, hey, am I immune? Like, is that legit? Then it raises two questions. Are you trying to push the vaccine? Or were all the tests that people were taking and they were testing positive, maybe they weren't positive? And now if they test for antibodies, you guys look stupid.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's a lot of that, and I agree full-heartedly with that.
Me too.
No, you don't.
Wait.
Were you listening?
Yes, but I kind of want to get. Well, first you were talking about how like people are in each other's shit more.
Well, it's like everybody is. It's like
I have
what,
ADD.
what side of the political fence do you fall on? What side of the mask fence do you side on? Which side of the vaccine fence?
We're
do you
talking
side
about fences.
Well, no, you
Exactly.
gotta air out all those levels of you gotta hey, you gotta check all the boxes off for each other, and then you gotta be like, okay, we can have these conversations, but we can't have these conversations.
By the way,
it like,
That's what I'm
Sorry,
saying.
go
You
ahead.
pulled up this gear.
How
I would rock
fancy-
this.
On
How
a level
fancy?
of 1 to 10, how fancy we getting on this one?
I might buy that.
Like, can we do like a fancy
7.
A 7?
Yeah.
Okay. Gilmore, pull something else up. I want to see what an 8 is about.
Ooh, the gold buttons.
The gold buttons.
Yeah, that's some fancy
Oh, yeah,
stuff.
this one.
I could see you rocking that like full time.
Dude, I want to show up to work with like that when we come back from COVID. I'll be like, I'm Admiral Akbar. That looks like you should be like commanding an army, or at least like, you know.
A submarine.
Yeah, some Navy thing.
I wonder if there's like some element of military in that garb too.
Yeah, but people are in business too much. I remember some fucking nobody asked me before the election last year. They were like, "Who are you voting for?" They were like, "So who are you voting for?" We're not even drinking, and they're just asking me that shit. And I'm just like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like,
I always
and
just
then,
tell
you
them,
know,
I'm
See, I would
was
actually
thinking-
say that. I'd be like, "Are you kidding me?"
voting.
Yeah, I was thinking.
fucking-
I didn't say anything, but I was thinking to myself that like I remember when this became like a huge thing in England, where people started asking each other how much they make, and then the one dude, I think Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear, he's just like, like I was in like, I don't know, Amsterdam or something like that, and then somebody asked me, so how much did you make last year? And he's like, I think I would have been more offended if he asked me when's the last time I had anal sex with my wife. I was like,
Jeremy
man.
Clarkson always made it more sense of things through allegories of anal sex with his wife.
Dissected.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think that leading by example, as dumb as that sounds, I kind of just part of like the reason I live the way I do is just kind of like when somebody does try and like hold something to me, I'm just like, what'd you say? I'm like, all right, cool. Let's get up tomorrow morning. You can start the day. And let's enter the Thunderdome. And at the end of the day, if you're not ready to work this hard for the next year straight, times 10, shut the fuck up, and get back to your job behind a desk, and just go, hope your 401k pans out. Because a lot of times the people like that have these comments,
that's real talk.
You look, and it's not even me trying to be tough or anything. It's just like you look at the way they live their lives, and it's just like, dude, there's nothing about what you're saying is being digested by me at all. Because the entire rest of your life is a complete mess. So why should I listen to you about masks right now?
Yeah.
It's like
well, it gives power. That's I've heard somebody like a sociologist talk about that. Like you're giving power, like by telling people that like you can freely, demonize someone who's not following what you think. Like, oh, you're not wearing a mask, and people want that. They want that power to like govern somebody else. So like, it's this perfect soup of like, let's fuck the whole like nation up so we can like tank the stock market and all the billionaires make money because we're really trying to get to outer space with this crazy cryptocurrency.
Dude, that's
the only way we're gonna be able to pay the aliens is in energy coins.
No, but it's like
that's why we're doing it.
One of my buddies is in the club. He's in like a fitness club down in the city, and they were giving him a hard time about his mask in the locker room, right? So you know what he did? He just started walking around butt ass naked.
Nice.
And he's like, nobody said a single thing to me after that. Because they're like, look, you want to talk to me? My dick's out right now. Let's talk. Right. Let's have a conversation.
Talk to me while I'm wearing
let's shake hands.
He's birthday like, suit.
I'm gonna make it super awkward for everyone.
I do that, dude. I do that. I'm in the. That's the best way not to get somebody to talk to you. If you're in the DMV, you're just trying to get your passport, and you're waving your winky. No one's gonna bother you. And you don't have to talk to somebody about something you don't care about. But when people ask me who I'm voting for, usually I'm just like, I really hope Gorbachev wins. And they're like, and just tell them you're crazy and then piss yourself. And then they'll be like, I don't want to talk to this guy. But meanwhile, you can enjoy your, dinner at Chili's.
Yeah, I mean, I get that a lot with like Rambo though, when he has like his service vest on. Like I was at like an architect meeting yesterday and they're like, so what do you need a service dog for? And it's like
crazy.
Well, if you want to get into that and not have this meeting right now, we can do that. But like, or you could just shut the fuck up. And, you
should just put on that. You should be like, I kill somebody. Like, dude, your dog killed someone? I'm like,
you don't want to be the next. Killing people.
Yeah, but when I was 6 years old, I was walking with my grandmother, and I kicked this deer in the face, and I've never been able to.
That's not my That's not my dog. That's my grandfather.
It's because they didn't let me get the Uber from the synagogue that close.
Yes, my dad made me walk home from the synagogue.
But if you were sitting somewhere, and someone's like, oh, why do you need a service dog in a mall? You'd be like, well, that's not a service dog. That's my grandfather. I met a wizard, and he turned him into a dog. People would be like, awesome. Let's go, Johnny. Let's go. Let's go make fun of that. Let's go tell that man who's not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
That he's a bad person.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like,
don't talk to that man.
Sometimes it's on me where it's just like, like I'm like civil about it. But sometimes the way people ask, you're just like, the fuck are you talking?
Yeah, it's like there's so many other things to like get on somebody about.
Yeah, well, when some people are nice, like I'm always nice back. Like if somebody asked me, I went to go get a juice somewhere, and they were like, "Oh, can you put a mask on?" And I was like, "No, thanks." They're like, "Oh, but we have a mask," and I was like, "No, thanks. I don't want to wear one. Like, have a nice day," and I just leave. So then their interaction is that not everyone who doesn't want to wear a mask is like an asshole.
No,
they're like good
correct.
people. Like it's like, hey, this is someone I can relate to. If you go and you're like, fuck you, and you want to do all this shit, then you're exactly what they thought you were.
That's a good point. We should take that. Definitely a hot takeaway.
I just love how the masks came off. Like there was a day. Remember, it was like,
Well, no, there's a
Labor
lot to be
Day-
said about that,
it was
though.
like
Yeah, it
Memorial
was
Day,
like
you
May-
guys
late
can
May
take
or
your
something,
masks
yeah.
off.
But
It's
there's
cool.
all the people that everybody had their masks off, right? And the second they said, you know, like, you don't need to wear the masks, everybody had their masks off except for, like, so if there was 100 people, everybody was wearing their masks. The next day, 2 fucking people were wearing their masks. It's like those were the 2 people that were actually worried about the virus.
Yeah.
And you see that everywhere.
I was
When you
out-
go to like restaurants and stuff, it's like nobody in the entire restaurant has a mask on anymore except for like the one girl who's bussing tables.
Or they like half it, where it's like down here. You're like, I don't know. what's
Yeah,
on,
and that's the same
whatever.
thing. She'll go in the back and she'll be like chewing her fucking
think-
chicken fingers. Like,
I think
need
COVID
a
actually
break.
comes out of your chin sweat, so we're good.
Yeah. No, but like a huge, like,
What if COVID only came out of your farts? What if we're like, we found out how COVID spreads. You're like, well, does it spread through your mouth?
No,
or
you know what
coughing?
the-
Like,
you know what
no,
they
we were
propose?
way off.
you know what they would propose? Butt plugs.
Yeah, they'd be like, now
Yeah.
everyone has to plug your asses.
Everybody's got to get a butt plug.
Unless
There's
you're
a shortage
shitting,
of
you
butt
have to
plugs.
plug your
Could
ass.
you imagine that? No, like seriously, if you're listening to this fucking show,
Yeah.
if that's what happened,
That's what should have happened.
if that's what happened, if they were like, oh, your breathe hole is fine, but your butthole is not fine. Breathe hole
you're
fine.
exposing everyone.
You're exposing everyone. You must plug it. Like, do you think do you think butt plugs would have gone up and like stock and butt plugs would
Oh,
have
dude.
fucking
Oh,
through the
definitely.
Of
roof?
course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you have to.
Totally.
I mean,
military
I'm pretty
or
upset.
government
I
issue.
remember-
butt-
Here's what we
remember
do,
this.
right?
Sorry, go ahead.
We fucking buy a butt plug company and we start some fake news.
What if it was a butt plug that
Sell them through the roof,
that
dude.
filtered?
Sell out.
It was a butt plug that filtered out the COVID, but upon release of flatulence, because people knew that you had butt plugs, now it would say something like COVID free.
You know what they would
Like,
do?
and then
you know
people
what?
would be like,
Yeah.
I'm glad. Like, I know that you're wearing your butt plug because I could hear your butt plug.
This is what would happen. Tampons.
Can hear it.
Tampons, the breathable butt plug.
Hey, man, I'm all for it.
Let your anus breathe while
I d-
filtering out the corona.
I care about the people next to me, so wear your butt plug. You know,
That's
why
what
we're
it's-
wearing masks.
Personalize it with
Dude,
like
just-
Samuel L. Jackson doing the voice.
But in some,
free.
but in some absurd like, you know,
Yeah, like when they fart, they whistle. It's so like that's how you know if they're legit or not. Be like, yeah, give me a toot.
isn't that what like Elon
That
Musk
doesn't
always
sound like
says
a
though?
Bose
Before you
speaker
enter a
to me.
restaurant, you got to do that.
Yeah, toot for me.
Or go ahead and just yeah. Okay, you're good.
Yeah, you're good.
And they just like
COVID-free?
let me tap your fanny.
You're good. Welcome to Chile.
let me tap your fanny to make sure
It's
you're
like-
good. It's like what the fuck is
and when
happening
it
in this country?
Runs low on battery. It's like battery low. Like, sir, let me get that for you. That's just one of the things we offer here at Faulkner
Or no, you-
dealerships.
You walk
Are you
in,
looking for a new car and battery for your asshole?
they give you the little tap, and they're like, you're missing one. They're like, we've got these complimentary butt plugs here behind the counter.
Oh man.
We
It's like those
disinfect
free-
them.
It's like those free headphones you get from the airline. You're
Yeah.
like, this doesn't play good music like the way my Bose ones do.
Oh,
It's like you
man.
get an ear infection every time you roll the dice on those bad boys.
I just started.
It's like I've never had a pimple inside my ear until today.
Ew.
I just started traveling with those Bose headphones the last few years. But like,
Inside ears or over ears?
over ears, but you take those off and like you realize how loud an airplane is.
I'm in the market for some headphones right now.
The over ears, I don't like the over ears for the gym, but when you're
No,
traveling, like,
for planes, you need the over
need
ears.
They have Bose noise canceling inner ears now.
Yeah, I have those.
John speaks highly on those. Do you have the same?
Yeah,
you
they're
have-
good.
They have
but, like
like
their
that.
connectivity isn't as good as like Apple, where for example, like if you're just like switching between devices, or sometimes like let's say you don't bring the case with you because the case is so big.
Yeah,
Then,
it's that
like,
gray case you
need
have.
them. Yeah, then you need them to like you need the case to reset. Whereas with like any Apple product, it's like you can just instantly pair it one to the other. It's like super smooth.
You have
It
the new
depends.
Apple ones too.
I used to, but then I ran them through a washing machine,
Yeah, I've
and
done
then I
that.
got the Bose. But Johnny has the she has the Apple ones.
Yeah.
But like I still have my old AirPods, and like it's so easy to just connect between the two. So yeah, but I still like my Bose ones. I like them a lot for working out. They don't like slip out and stuff.
I
when
think I'm
doing
gonna
deadlifts.
I think I'm gonna get the inner ones until I get cauliflower ear, and then I'll have to get the outer ones. So
Yeah.
like then I won't have a choice. So I'm gonna rock those until
you
till
should
that
wear
happens.
those like Chun-Li things, those
The
wrestler
pads on the things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
why
I
not?
fucking hate those.
Yeah, but then your ear looks like some of those guys' ears are just like, damn.
Dude, my right ear doesn't like it's not like swollen or anything anymore, but my right ear right here, like legit, like still is like when I poke it, it's like if I bump it on, like me and Rambo were playing earlier and he bumped it and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
still sensitive there. Ooh.
Dude, just like my neck.
I'll just keep training on it and then like it's not when you're training, you're not thinking about it, but yeah, my ears aren't gonna get that bad.
Yeah, I mean you're not.
I'm
getting,
33. I'm not like
punched
I'm
in the
not
head.
15 years old starting out in the sport. Yeah,
Those are like
it's fun.
super committed dudes. Like just watching.
It's not that hard to get cauliflower ear.
just
Yeah,
the
my
fact that
cousin
like
got
your
it.
job is to fight another human being, and that's like all you can do right now.
The funny part is like some of the people are. It's not even their job. It's just like their profession, and they don't get paid for it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like you haven't made it yet, so like the only way for you to make it is to keep fighting other human beings.
No, even the dudes that have made it that I've trained with, that like a really high level, don't make that much money in this sport.
I'm
so
talking
it's
about,
like
like-
you still like when you look at a human being like that, you're like, all right, that's passion.
Yeah, Like,
That's
you don't
not
get,
money.
You don't
Money
get,
didn't put that on your ear.
you don't get cauliflower ear from like being an accountant. You're like, oh, crunching all these numbers. It's body sacrifice. Oh man, I'm so glad I don't have to fight people for a living, man.
Yeah, same, dude.
I would be like my weight class. I'd have to lose like 60 pounds even to like stand a chance.
What do you weigh right now?
Like
Casually.
195.
195.
Like maybe a few donuts ago.
Yeah, you'd want to.
Like 200 right now.
Yeah, so
203.
170 pounds.
And
Or-
170 pounds, I'm getting my ass kicked by like Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah.
That guy's a fucking animal. Like, if that's what I have to fight at 170, like, I gotta go down. I gotta fight like the women. Nah, that sounds terrible.
Dude, I
But like the
competed.
100-pound women.
I competed at
and they'll
170.
kick my ass.
I competed at 170, and those dudes. I asked a couple of the guys, and they all were like in the like 190 normally.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Or there's open class where you could, it doesn't matter what your weight is.
I would like to do some sort of fighting. Like, I think you have to do it eventually in life. Like, either some karate or, like, what he does with, But, like, you got to figure
I doesn't know what it's called.
One thing that I don't
give it
understand.
BJs or something like that. Adam's like, or Andrew's like, I'm going to beat your ass.
JJ.
BJJ's, yeah, dog.
What were you saying?
One thing that I don't understand is that like how people have to cut to get into the weight class.
Yeah.
Not to be like I know it sounds like a dumb question, but like I always found it nicer like for whatever I had to do. Like even if I'm studying for a test, it's like, hey, I already studied everything 2 weeks in advance, and then I just need a quick refresher before. I only did that one semester. But, like, it was, I performed so well. So I'm like, why don't people who weigh less, like, let's say you weigh 155, and then you bulk up, and then you go into the 170 class. Why don't I hear people do that?
I did that.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I did that, I weighed 162. So, like, those dudes were cutting down to 170, and I was going up. And the thought process was that I would be, like, strong and hydrated and everything. But, like, the fact of the matter was that those dudes were just huge. Like, that 20. Well, because I'm 155 normally, and that's, like, a weight class. So I weigh 158 usually to, like, 157, 160. But, like, I could cut down to 145. No problem.
You're saying, like, you don't see a lot of guys go, like, bulk up to fight?
Bulk up to fight,
You
yeah.
do.
I would imagine. Yeah, but I would also
It's
imagine.
a lot
like,
of work. It's a lot of
That's
work.
what I'm saying. Like, if you're already, like, dominating your weight class and you're just making money and you're doing it professionally, like, to do that, it would be, like, to take a pretty big chance. And at that point in your career, while you've, like, established yourself and you could do that, unless you have to do that to basically because you're not winning or whatever.
There's people that don't weigh up. Like there's a
I
dude
just
Michael.
realized
There's
that.
a dude Mikey Musumeci.
Well,
Who he weighs like he fights like he probably weighs like 140 pounds. Yeah, there you go back there. Yeah.
There's another.
So that guy's number one in the world right now. In 2 or 3 different weight classes. So he's in 135, 145, and 155.
Who's the guy that just came back from? He's in the UFC. He came back from a suspension. He's a little blonde-haired dude.
Darren Till.
Is it Darren Till? I think that guy just went from like 130 to 155 or something like that.
No, you're talking about
Holloway, Max Holloway.
No.
But he just did it, right? I think he got beat.
These stats are insane.
But like to take a 135 frame and then to put 30 pounds of meat on it,
Mikey,
and then
you
go fight somebody.
You're 25%, or your 20 submission wins out of 48. 25% of them are choked from the back.
How long do you think it would take for that guy
10% is triangle from armbar.
to incapacitate me? 5 seconds?
Not even.
5 seconds.
They move so fast, dude. You
Nah,
need to see it.
Mikey's really fast.
What if
Way
I run
faster.
around like a woman?
Just type in
Doing the
like
herbal essences.
type in his name and then like Bolo video.
Would you say Bola?
Bolo, Bollo.
Bologna?
Bolognese.
Bolognese is delicious.
Berimbolo?
There you go.
I've always wanted to make a bolognese. It's
Ready,
a very
this is a
simple
berimbolo.
sauce, but
Okay, guys, I'm here today with Mikey Musumeci. Huge honor for me. Guys, today Mikey
he's like sitting there with a black eye. I have fun.
Here, maybe we can just scroll through.
Is he gonna show how like fast he beats people's asses?
It's a sweet
Yeah,
unit.
watch right.
This just looks like two men hugging.
with his arms up, right? And I'm on his legs, right? So now he brings his upper body forward and he's using.
I mean, this just looks like missionary.
Yes. So the rules of posting state that.
All right, scroll through a little bit until he
Yeah, I
throws
need to
it
learn
down.
I need to learn how to beat somebody's
It's
ass.
probably more.
I think
through.
BJJ is just beating someone's ass from any position. You're like, all right, so say he's coming at
There you
you
go,
like a
do this.
vampire flying.
So their weight is huge difference.
Look, now I can flip him, and look how he's gonna just post this arm on the floor here. The second he's posting here, look at how
Oh
he's
fuck!
I use my knee like so.
Huh.
Just like I hammer my leg down like so.
I'd
I lift
pull a
up his
hamstring.
body, and now I'm gonna bring my shin behind his leg so I can stretch, and I can take the back.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, see, like so he'll be in positions or like dudes at his
He'll be in,
level.
like, compromised
they'll be
positions,
you'll
but-
This is
you'll look at him and
exactly-
you'll be like, that dude is in a compromised spot. But in his mind, he's like, no, my back is on the ground. I'm in this. I'm rolling you this way, and now I have your back. But
it's-
like for a second, it looks like oh
It looks
shit.
like he's fucked, yeah.
It's very noble to pursue some of this, and I think like I definitely want to get into this
He's
kind of
only,
stuff
I think he's only 25
when I get
years old.
older, or probably in the next couple of years, or like karate or like whatever, something where I'm like I learn how to do.
If
something.
you say karate one more time, in my
Karate?
presence,
Karate?
oh, fuck it. I'm a
Kung
second.
fu.
I am a second degree
You know
black
what I
belt
mean.
in karate, and we no longer practice karate in America for a reason.
Why?
Because it's dumb and will get you killed in the streets.
I'm not trying to fight somebody. I'm just
So
trying
you're
to
trying
like,
to have
ward
self-defense in
off
case
a
you
large
have to.
dog,
Unless
or
you
like
have to.
You're
You're gonna be
an
like
angry
rising
lesbian.
block, forearm block, and they're gonna be like knife attack.
Right. But that's what I was saying. Like, I watch these videos and I'm like, how hard it is to like incapacitate someone. I'm like, I'm just gonna shovel my left foot across his tailbone and then Yeah, but lodge if- my knee up his ass.
I would say
then
that-
I'll-
I
he's
have a
incapacitated.
black, I have
And
a
now I
black
can break
belt
his-
in Taekwondo. I studied that for a long time. And Johnny asked me, she's like, oh, you should teach me some stuff because, New York's
I don't
getting
wanna get you
shady now.
hurt.
And I tell her, I'm like, you know what? I'm
Should
not
buy a
gonna
gun.
I'm not gonna ruin anything because I don't know shit.
And here's
You
what
should-
I'll say
yeah.
about that. Like when
Yeah.
you get to a high level in karate or taekwondo or rexkwando or whatever it is, yes, you probably are capable of fucking some people up with your moves. But the problem is like not
It's
there's
not
like if you come
applicable
up,
in real life.
it's not applicable. Like you still have the moves and the energy, and you know like what it's like to fight because you've
Yeah.
competed in fighting karate and thrown roundhouse kicks. But like if you come up against like someone that's just got crazy energy, you need to like practice a martial art that's like this dude. You come up against Mikey, he's throwing your face into the concrete, and then he's like putting you in a position where you can't move.
exactly.
Like
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
like you want to have two options: run away. Smash them in the ground so they can't move. Like
No,
you don't
that's
all
want
this
jujitsu,
stuff
you
right?
is
don't want to
super
have
cool.
you don't
Jujitsu,
want to
right?
have a striking match with somebody.
When you see somebody
that's what this Mike
BJJ
guy-
That's
somebody,
all jujitsu, yeah.
That's true. Okay.
when you see somebody BJJ somebody and they like grab their arm and then flip them and then they're like arm bar in a second, you're like, I need to know some of that
That's
stuff.
judo though. So type in Justin Flores.
But I watch all these things
What's
and
the
I'm like,
difference between that and Aikido?
Aikido.
keto diet is where you don't eat a lot of carbohydrates.
Yeah, so like that first video is pretty good. This is an older video, but this is like
Justin Flores.
he definitely gets
judo
paid off
man.
this. So like that's
Yeah, just
back,
like
like
flipping
so
a
he
bit,
just boom,
flipping
and
a
then
homie.
second this dude's back touches the ground, that's like the points are scored. Like he's
Yeah.
so like he boom touches the ground.
Oh.
That
It's
guy,
like
see how that guy
Chinese
turned
wrestling.
around? See how that guy turned around to his stomach? He's like can't get my
Damn,
shoulders to move.
I'm not flexible enough to do that right now.
So like when I recommend people to do this, it's like do judo first if you can, then do jujitsu.
I feel like if you were ever gonna go undercover as a judo guy,
Shout out Justin Flores.
Shut up.
or
J Flow Judo.
wait a second, they all I was gonna try to get to is they kind of look like they're like bakers getting off their shift. They have like baker clothing, but little do you know they could murder you or make you a delicious pie.
Yeah. A choke pie.
Do you wear? You're.
I
gi.
do gi.
You
I
have to
compete
gi, right?
in gi and no gi.
What's
What's
no
the
gi?
difference?
Is it like where the
Um,
salmon is on top of the roll?
Like the difference is like with gi,
I see you over there, Gilmore.
the gi is like there's a lot of grips. There's a lot more places to like hold on to
Oh
somebody.
yeah.
With no gi, there's
I feel like you should put children.
Yeah,
you have
rather
to
just
you have
get
to
some
like
gi.
you have to grab like
No gi, I mean.
tendons and like your fingers have to like grip the muscle. Like you have to like it's like rock. No gi is like rock climbing,
Yeah.
whereas gi is like climbing a rope.
Right.
You climb a rope long
So
enough,
which
it's
is
hard
like
as
better to
fuck.
start off with?
Gi.
Gi and
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
no
because
gi.
you're not probably you're probably not like you're not gonna be like naked wrestling a dude. out
You're
there.
not learning the advanced tricks like nipple twisters till advanced no-gi, right? I think is that
Yeah.
level of class 2?
Yes, after leg lock.
That's an advanced algebra gi.
That happens, dude. Like
Hey,
ball grabs,
hey,
eye gouges
yeah.
and shit in competitions. When you do somebody dirty, like Brazilian dudes, you grab your nuts, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. That I heard that shit goes down in like water polo. People be like kicking each other in the nuts and shit in water
Well, I think
polo.
that's just like them jumping out
this
of
is
the water.
Captain, new Captain.
Water polo is apparently like very violent. Like people do like shady shit under the water, dude.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus,
If we're not gonna let them take it into water polo.
I'm just saying. there's some
Speaking of water, how's
comparisons.
John doing with the fishing?
Excellent.
Catching
he
every
won
fish.
last night.
He won last night. His success, John, if you're listening, I'm not going to talk about it in great detail and stir the drama pot, but his success has unfortunately garnered him the negative attention from some people. So we keep telling him just keep having a good time, which he is, but every now and then there's just like people are just like
There's
Like
jealousy
who?
within
Like
the
people in the
fishing circle.
tournament, or
just jealous fishermen.
Bobcat
Yeah.
Tom.
it's
Sea Bass Sam.
It's weird. It's a very tight knit community. It's very competitive and like
Catfish Kevin. These are guys that are. Just,
I don't think
they don't like the newcomers.
small dick
Shut
crowd?
the fuck up.
Wait, I can fix that for you. There you go.
Mute him.
Yeah, he's muted.
Yeah, it's just he's having such a good time doing it, and he's making a lot of friends. Eventually, like when you're making that many acquaintances, you're not gonna be friends with everybody. Basically,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
happening. Nothing major.
Oh, that's fine.
But he's literally a champion already, and I think
Dude,
I
the
think people are
first
upset
time-
about it.
The first,
And he hasn't
wait,
been fishing.
Can we be clear?
There's been people that have been fishing for 10 fucking years or more, and he's like won something that like other people have not. So it's like he's been fishing for like a year.
Let's go back. The first time that I was on this podcast was November of last year, sometime in November, right?
Yeah.
We should look up that episode. So from that time till now,
John became a fishing
John
champion.
became a fucking winner.
Well, yeah.
He didn't catch shit at
He
that
wears a
time.
hat
That's
now.
pretty cool.
So what garnered him a lot of attention was like his Instagram account, the moose fishing, and he basically just makes videos of him fishing, and other people don't do that, right? So other people that aren't doing that are like, why is this guy making fishing videos? He's only been fishing for so long, but really his videos are just about his struggle.
Yeah,
Like it's just about his journey. So the whole thing is just like a big positive mood. Like it's just a good thing.
yeah.
So like honestly, if anybody like he's honestly meeting like tons of people through fishing.
That's so. Cool.
I wouldn't be surprised if John's like fishing tournaments, like bigger tournaments.
Yeah, but
The season's come like it's gonna be cold soon, so like he only has so many more like weeks or whatever. But like I think this time next year, I wouldn't be surprised if like John and like Britt, who he fishes with, like are traveling to tournaments because they are so obsessed with fishing.
yeah, I don't understand.
That they're like upsetting people with how obsessed they are with fishing. It's like you can't be more obsessed than me. I can't have that. That's like
funny.
what's happening. It's like it fishing, I guess probably hunting is probably like that maybe too.
Mm-hmm.
I think
It's
it's
like
like
a very-
the
it's a very, like-
preparation of fishing is like one of the big draws to it too, because it's like you have to bait up, you have to do all that stuff, you have to like get the boat ready,
Maybe.
and then you
I
have to
no
sit
idea.
there and wait. So it's like the act of actually fishing is
Well,
like
they don't know. I don't know. They do a whole lot of waiting.
Well,
They're
I mean-
like, this is Dave. We're talking about competitive fishing.
right, but like if you're not getting bites, like it could be a lot of waiting, right?
Well, they do. They don't. Well, they move. Like the way they
Okay, so
break
it's
down
it's like
fishing.
a tactical like thing.
So like they'll do like, okay, so like the weather, and this is like you can watch them talk on Instagram like this. This is why it's so funny to watch them. Because they'll be like, oh, the wind's coming in off the northeast. They've got low cloud cover. So the fish are probably going to be closer to like lily pads. And I'm like, okay. Or it's like, it's 96 degrees out with no wind. The fish are going to be deeper
like
today. I
golf.
need different tackles. It's like, okay. Like they know like literally like what the height of the sun, the temperatures, the wind, where the fish are going to go. And they look at like the key to being like, so once you master like certain water places, I guess. I'm talking completely out of my asshole. Unplugged. Right? Unplugged.
no plug.
That's
Full
how I
circle.
roll. No
Full
mask, no
circle.
plug.
I'm gonna mess
Oh
with
my
my
You know what
god,
I'm
no
saying?
plug too. Jeez.
God damn, I'm reckless. But like once you learn a lake, like if you know a lake really well, like John Marley, Britt, that dude Scott Allen who we had on the podcast a while, John now, like all these dudes like fish the same lake.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you can go to another lake that you don't know as well, get there in the morning and break it down and be like, all right, this is the geography. This is, from fishing these other things. I know that fish typically like this. And then you compete on that lake. That's the level they want to get to.
And everybody's out
That's
there at the
interesting.
same time.
Well, yeah, it's like there's like a start time. I guess there's the one they do on Wednesday nights is just like it's like 2 or 3 hours. But then there's ones that are like, I think they're, what did he say? Like you bag the best 5 fish or something like that.
Mm.
So like if you fish all day and then the fishing tournament ends at a certain time, it's like they weigh your net. So like if you can only catch 5 and the total weight of your net is
Right.
what, or like you keep your best one or whatever the thing is. I don't forget.
That's interesting. It's kind of
It's
like
way serious.
so. It's kind of like so. I guess anybody who's hating on him, it's kind of like the Bose thing, where it's like audio people they don't like Bose, but it's like the interesting thing about them and how they became successful is because they created like normally surround sound systems had these giant speakers and that was it 20 years ago or more than that. And then they came out with these speakers that are like this tiny that you can like aesthetically, which pleases the wives, aesthetically you can put it anywhere. So then the guy is like, okay, I want a dope speaker system. My wife is not letting me put in these gargantuan things. I can choose Bose. And then
Yeah.
fucking everyone chooses Bose
I see what you're
because
saying.
it just goes in. And then people are like, oh, they're not the best, Like, I can't believe people are paying for that and stuff. And it's like, well, that's kind of how a lot of shit works.
I think it's more,
That is
if
true.
I had to like, my hot take on the situation is that John is very passionate and is like very capable of learning things. So he took like basically no knowledge of fishing to the knowledge he is today in less than a year. Whereas a lot of the guys he fishes with have been fishing their entire lives. Right? So it's
That
like,
is
imagine if somebody came
huge
into
ego,
I said,
yeah.
I was like, dude, imagine if somebody came into a jiu-jitsu gym, trained for 6 months, and then choked out the master of the gym. It's like, not that he did that, because he's,
Yeah.
but
I
like,
s-
but
I
that's
s-
like,
But it's
but it's like
similar,
somebody's going to be upset about that.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like you should only be honored. And that's the position we're taking.
I saw John in the grocery store.
We're honored by it.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
saw John in the grocery store like a week ago, and I was like, "John, what's going on?" I like shouted him from across the way. He's like, "Dave, shh, the fish can hear you." And I was like, "Oh."
Oh, he was fishing in the store too.
He just thinks
Had
about
his
fish
hands in
all
with the
time.
lobster.
He's like, "You're gonna scare the fish." I was like, "Where are they?" They're in a lake about 3 miles that way under the lily pads. I'm like, God damn, he's good.
Like breathing out of a reed under
It's
the
such
water.
an obsession with those guys, though. My brother is. He
Your
likes
brother's the
deep
same
sea
way.
Fishing.
Your
Like,
brother's
so-
a different type of fishing, but he's the same
Yeah,
level.
but
of
they're all
serious.
like nuts about it. Like if they don't get fish, it's like a mutiny on the bound. Like guys, but as soon as they get a fish, it's like the best thing ever, and they come back and it's like triumphant.
Well,
and
you said we were going to the point. It's like, no, well, I said we were going to the cove.
I was like, I kind of want to go do it now though, because it's like they leave at 2 a.m. They go almost 100 miles out into the ocean. When you get out there, there's no light pollution, so you see like everything in the sky. So it's kind of almost like a spiritual experience, I guess, for them, because you're kind of connecting to nature through like millions of dollars of like, boat and tackle. Burning like 900 gallons of fuel for like 3 tuna.
Yeah, but no masks, no plugs.
Nah, complete freedom out there. But then you're also subject. Like I took the little boat out this weekend, and I went out through the inlet, and the wind was picking. Like the ocean was calmish, but the wind was picking up, and I was like going out. I'm like, I don't know if I want to like go through the channels are there, but I'm like, if you run aground in the inlet and you just start getting hit, and I haven't been in that water in a while, I'm like I'll just go through the back bay. I had Sarah with me, so I was like more worried about like her, because I could probably just get my ass kicked. In
Who's
the ocean and
Sarah?
be fine. She's my lady.
Okay.
But
It's like Sarah with
that
me.
ocean, like water does not care who you are. Like it's
Unforgiving.
getting out there, man. Like that's
No, the ocean doesn't care. That's why that's not like taking it full circle back to the crypto thing. That's why it's funny to me that I think the government can control the internet.
yeah, the internet's kind of
Right?
like the ocean.
Nobody controls the ocean. Nobody controls space. Why do they think they can control the internet? The internet's as vast as space, essentially,
Yeah.
as at least the ocean.
Well, the Bitcoin, like the whole
It's
crypto
not just
thing
crypto.
too,
It's
is
not
like,
just crypto.
It's a market, though, right? Like it's obviously a market. Like they're treating it like a market. Whether or not it's the long term in the
It's
short
not a
term-
market, Dave. It's a blockchain.
In the short term, you have your whales.
It is blockchain.
I don't know what that means.
You have your whales. You've already seen essentially like basic like market, like the technical traders will be like, oh well, here's a particular pattern you see in the stock market, because they're treating it as such. So in the next like 20 years, maybe it does, blow up to be this thing. But in the short term, they're definitely going to play with it. And they'll look like so.
Yeah,
there's
but
money to
I
be
don't
made
think I
even
think
if you wanna be
people
in
are
cash.
still looking at it as a money thing, and it's like way more than that.
Yeah, but I mean, in the short term, like we're all gonna, we're not here forever. So like,
I mean, if you have a penis in your pants, you're gonna play with it. So.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh
Yeah.
shit,
I mean,
dude,
at
we're
4
gonna
years old, I'm like, what's this?
yeah,
4 years old, huh?
we're gonna end it on that.
Good idea.
Yeah, so
My parents had a thing where they're just like, oh my God, honey, he's doing it again. Because I was sleeping in the same room as them, and I didn't know that you're supposed to hide that shit.
It's a shame that we have to.
yeah, dude, 4-year-olds, man, you didn't know any better, dude. That's when you became secretive.
I know.
I can't remember what
Yeah,
happened.
parents are always like, dude, why is he so shady? It's because that one time you made him feel uncomfortable about himself.
Yeah.
Ever since then, it's shady Sonny,
No,
dude.
now I'm not
So-
going to
Shady
tell you about
Sonny.
my butt plug.
Yeah, seriously. Yo, he's in the bathroom for a long time. Is he pooping? We don't know.
It's like, why does Dad go out to the shed all the time? Like, he's just doing school work.
What? I said we were going to end it. And I
It just kept
now
going.
we're here.
I gotta
Episode
pee.
100. I got to pee.
Yeah.
I'm sure Sonny's got to pee. Dave's got to pee. He's made that clear. So no masks, no plugs.
No
Hope
headphones.
you enjoyed this episode. Hope you
Yo,
enjoyed.
can you subscribe? Seriously, this number is not going up. I fucking told you guys last time. Sorry, Andrew, I interrupted you. I'm tired of this shit.
No. Thank you, Sonny. So go heed his warning, subscribe. 100 episodes strong. Going to do 100 more. We're having a great time. You guys are having a great time listening. Way more people are listening than subscribing, which is pissing Sonny off.
Yeah.
So by the time Sonny gets here next time, there better be 5 more subscribers. And Dave,
That's all I gotta say about that.
yeah, man.
What's Sonny
Episode
say?
100. Thanks, Dave,
Thank
our
you.
most
Most
frequent guest,
Yeah.
resident expert
That's
of
right.
nothing, Dave, and then Sonny's our second most resident expert of some more things than Dave. So thanks for listening. Hit the subscribe button and check out episode 100.